I'm here with I am here with Watson Duke. A lot of people know Watson Duke as a trade unionist. They know him out there arguing, fighting, quarreling, being arrested, and all this stuff. But I want to introduce you to the human Watson Duke.
Thank you.
He came from the poor beginnings to where he is here for today. A young man from the east of Tobago, Roxborough, to be exact. An Adventist. He witnessed and prayed and lived under the Advent message. And today I'm excited to present to you that Watson Duke and the politician right now. So, Brother Duke.
Yeah.
Which government that you work under as a trade unionist, that you believe you experience great governance and they treated your workers fairly and well? Is there any one government that you could talk about, whether it's Pandey's government or Sister Kamala government or the People's National Movement? Because I have to ask you, how was your role in PAC prepare you as a politician? Seeing that we have so much corruption going on.
Yes.
What can you tell?
I've worked as a president of the PSC,
about the governance.
As a president of the PSC. So as a president of the PSC, I've worked under the Manning executive. All right. And it was all right. It wasn't bad. And I mean, we had to fight against him very hard to get what we had to get. It wasn't that bad. We would have fight if we fought against the UNC very much so with sick buildings and money issues. But we got the largest increase under the UNC. Right? We got 14%. In fact, we got 9% plus houses. We give out 300 houses. That's the PSC as a union. 300 houses to our members. We had a health plan that was moved from $500,000 to $1 million. So we were able to thrive because of the ability to sit and negotiate and not try to bully the public servants. All right. And they were a little bit more free with money than the PNL. So we were able to make great strides. We got 9%, and then we got 14%. And there were some places that got almost 100% increase in salary under these persons.
So you are trying to tell me here now that you function better with your people under the governance of UNC.
And I don't want to act as if I'm making a plug for them, but I'll say definitely
no, it's not
the
a plug,
PSA. Definitely the
because
PSA.
I'm about to ask you now.
Go ahead.
I'm about to ask you something that we let that rush pass us by. Like when Kamala Bissessa was in power, she opened up a different ministry in Tobago, did she?
Yes.
What do you want to tell us about that?
Right, there's normally what we call the Ministry of Tobago Affairs that I think Eric Williams would have created, all right, to kind of like pacify Tobagonians, the Ministry of Tobago Affairs. But what the UNC did, they created the Ministry of Tobago Development, because prior to that, the Tobago Affairs was just like a glorified watchman. They were not meaningful in the lives of Tobagonians. They were just there, just bringing and carrying information, basically. But with the Ministry of Tobago Development, large sums of money was spent in Tobago to engage into productive development. Women were trained in doing different things. Men were trained. They wanted to open a cheese factory. They bought the lands. They had things set up. And people were constantly being trained and retrained for the field of work. And while they were being trained, they were paid. So lots of money was being spent there, millions of money. I don't want to give a special figure right now, but millions of dollars were literally being spent in Tobago and upon the development of Tobagonians. So that was a positive thing. I think that Tobagonians still today will recall that as a positive event in their life, as opposed to currently now. Currently now, IAN is responsible for the Ministry of Tobago, but nothing is being done so as to develop people. Money is not spent to develop the people, you know. So it's chalk and cheese, day and night, night and day.
So,
when you
so
look
that
at it.
money you talking about there, that was in addition to the money that was given to Tobago.
To teach it, of course, the THA.
To the THA.
All right, under the THA, they presented the money well. There was no holding back of funds, etc. From the THA. They got what they deserve, etc.
Because now I'm looking at you guys and your legislative meetings and so on, and I see that Joel Jack would ask for X amount of money.
Yeah, $5 billion. He loved that figure. $5 billion he asks for every year.
But what happens? Does he ever get that money?
No, he never. But every year he puts out $5 billion, and every year he's told, take half of that and cool yourself, or less than half. 40%.
And do you think the half that he receives, seeing that he knows how much he needs, do you think that the Tobago House of Assembly is shortchanged every year because they want the same amount of productivity but less money?
Yeah, it's been shortchanged because the amount of money that has been spent on recurrent expenditure is about $2 billion. All right, it's on recurrent expenditure because THA has poisoned itself by becoming the largest employer, employing 70% of the people on the island by simply destroying the private sector, destroying every sector. They have made themselves only employer on the island, you could say, because they want control. And that's how they control people, by threatening their jobs, threatening their livelihoods. So they have done a disservice to themselves and the people of Tobago. On the other hand, we have also too that the development budget to develop the island, right, is about $200 to $300 million. When you look at that type of money in the national sense, that money can't even build a bridge. The bridge that they build on the highway in Aranguez, they call it some interchange, but I call it a bridge. It's cost way over $300 million, and that's only built on one little piece of land. How do you want to develop 116 square miles with that money? What can they do? So what the PNM does is that they build box drains and little walls, and they say that's how the development money is spent. They have not spent any money developing Tobago. All of those hospitals and police stations and fire stations and complexes, those money come from Trinidad. They sent the money in Tobago simply because there's a threat in Tobago right now. It's called a PDP threat, political threat, and the people have been converted on a rapid basis. They are afraid of that threat, and as a result, they intend to blind the people by acting as if they care about Tobago East, as if they care about Tobago. Tobago West actually got nothing over the last 4 years. I could say that to you. There was no development in Tobago West over the last 4 years. Every single development in Tobago took place in my constituency. All of the development.
Even the new community center in Belle Garden.
That's right. That's $1 billion they spent in my district. Why? Because they want to get rid of PDP. I'm telling you this, Tobagonians are sick and tired of
They want to get rid of Watson Duke.
I believe you. You have put it quite clearly. But God is good.
Now as we are here talking about PSA and we're talking about the government and what the government doing and stuff like that, I want to ask you right now, how has your role as a PSA president prepare you to deal with monies?
Yeah.
in case you should get the chance
Yes.
to be part of the ruling party, where you will have monies to spend.
Yes.
How
Well,
much money you and your PSA spend per year? Do you have that
we
figure, or do I
we
have
spend
to, or
about
do you have to come back with it?
24, an average about $24 million we spend on a yearly basis. And all of that money is really spent in defending workers' interests, maintaining the buildings, etc. And every month we have what is called a general council meeting, which is a finance body, and we present to that meeting financials, and they argue, they ask questions, they clap, and we make plans. So the money is well supervised. We allow our members to raise concerns. We have had some problems in the past with auditing, and that's because the auditor to audit the PSA must be sent from the Register of Trade Unions, and they had not been sending any until we begin to make noise, and then they sent them in for a couple of years. But the thing about audit is that you can't go on to a new audit unless you finish the old one. All right? But
Yes.
apart from that, though, our finances are managed by a chartered accountant, someone who's ACCA qualified and has masters in fraud and all different kind of stuff. So they have competent people. And also on my team, the treasurer on my team is a manager in the ministry, in the Auditor General's office. He's a manager. No, I think he's a director. One of the directors in the Auditor General department is also the treasurer on my executive team. So we have competent people.
So
we have people who are very gifted, and we are quite able to manage financing.
And,
oh my Lord, all the time. So much to say.
I want to ask you a couple of questions, and as I said, we will have a part 2.
Please.
And first question is, why should we vote for you?
Well, I think I'm the most natural candidate, right? What you see is what you get. My track record speaks for itself. I came into the union literally with nothing, and I made every single opportunity to represent people. I've been in Tobago representing the citizens, the electorate, and I've been doing a fantastic job. We have seen so much development to the east. We have seen Central Bank come to Tobago. We have gotten a new boat. We have seen that anything raised in Tobago, we get results on it. Once, because we are fighting, and we don't give up. We keep fighting until we get results. If I get into office, I'll say this to you: we will bring more money for the development budget of Tobago. We will be asking for $5 billion
to
really take Tobago off.
Be careful of how you answer this question. You said if you get into power.
If we get into power, one of the things we also want to do is ensure that persons that are professional persons who are serving on the front line and doing a human service, like doctors, nurses, etc., once they make a certain amount of years, they would be given a house for free. They don't have to pay for that. They don't have to pay no rent. They'll be given a house. We want to ensure also too that our professionals abroad can come back to Tobago and be given a soft loan to construct houses, because the greatest resource of any country is a human resource. More than oil and gas and all of these things, tourism is a human resource. You need human resource to develop the island. So we want to call back the best and the brightest to put their hands together and let's develop this. I'm only the fighter, going down to fight and to argue with Trinidad. But once it is won, we need everyone to help.
So you are not really trying to introduce anything that is completely new. In my time as a young woman, agricultural office, they were given houses, they were given places to live. I believe the money that they're paying doctors cannot live a decent life. Even the houses that they want to put doctors to live in, those houses are old. They need to be refurbished. They need to look like places where people who just spend thousands and millions to educate themselves and come back to serve, they should live under better conditions.